All right, so Davidson is one of the most desirable places to live in all of Lake Norman and the Charlotte region in general. And in this video, we're gonna break down 6 real reasons why everyone is moving to Davidson. Let's get into it. Hey, my name is Austin, and I make videos about what it is like to move to or live in the Lake Norman area of North Carolina. And number 1 on our list is that Davidson is actually the most walkable town in all of the Charlotte area and along Lake Norman. All right, now when we talk about walkability in Lake Norman, the real walkability score here is about a 60 to a 62, depending on who you ask. Now, Davidson is the most walkable town in all of the Lake Norman area. That's really only if you live near the downtown. Now, the downtown does have a lot to offer. They have fantastic access to different coffee shops like Summit Coffee. You have access to restaurants like the famous Toastery, and you do have some shops downtown as well. And Davidson College is also in the downtown area of Davidson, North Carolina. Now, if you're looking for a walkability score to go to other parts of Lake Norman, or if you're looking for quick access to like public transportation, you're not going to find that in Davidson, and you're really not going to find that really anywhere along the Lake Norman area yet. Now, one thing I do want to touch on, and that is that Davidson's downtown does host the farmers market, which in my opinion is going to be the best farmers market in all of the Lake Norman area. In this market, you're going to find fresh produce, fresh meat, some nice flowers, some other things as well, like fresh donuts and live music. It is really a fun time to go. Bring out the kids, bring out the family, or even if you're just going to pick up some groceries for yourself. The Davidson Farmers Market downtown is fantastic. All right, now if you are relocating from a place in the United States that has fantastic public transportation like San Francisco or New York, Davidson, North Carolina is not even gonna come close to that, okay? I'm just gonna be honest with you. Davidson is a wonderful town to walk and live if you are downtown. However, Davidson is big, it is 5 square miles, and the entire town is not walkable, just that downtown area. So just keep that in mind if what you're looking at is Davidson, North Carolina. All right, number 2 on my list of reasons people are moving to Davidson, North Carolina, that is going to be the top rated public schools and the community feel as a whole. All right, so Davidson is well known for having the best public schools in all of the Lake Norman region, and some of the best public schools in the Charlotte region in general as well. All right, so to put a number or a ranking on Davidson in general, now what we're gonna start off with is rankings for Davidson in comparison to other parts of the United States. All right, this is gonna be the United States as a whole. Now, Davidson ranks 109th best suburbs to live in the entire country, okay? And then on top of that, Davidson ranks 201st best places to live in the entire country. And that is ranked against 18,000 other places in the United States. Davidson's at 201. And then lastly, for rankings against other parts of the United States, Davidson is ranked 267th out of just over 12,000 places, best places to retire in the United States as well. All right, let's get into some Davidson, North Carolina state rankings here too. All right, Davidson is ranked 4th best place to live in North Carolina. It's ranked 4th best suburb to live in North Carolina as well. It is ranked 8th best place in North Carolina to raise a family. It is ranked 12th best place in North Carolina for young professionals, and the 15th best place to retire in North Carolina. Now, the overall rating for Davidson, North Carolina on niche.com is an A+. Their public schools get an A. Their housing gets a B+, and that's mainly just because of the cost of housing. They get an A+ for families. They get an A+ for job opportunities as well. So you can see with all of these rankings that Davidson does come highly ranked, some of the best public schools in the state of North Carolina, and just one of the best overall places to live in the United States comes Davidson, North Carolina. All right, let's move to number 3. All right, number 3 reason that people are flocking to Davidson, North Carolina, and that is going to be that access to Lake Norman. Now, Davidson, North Carolina does have one of these smaller footprints as far as towns go on Lake Norman, but what they do have in their areas is actually some condos, and they have their own beach as well. So you're gonna see with these condos, you're looking at 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom in some spots. And these are actually gonna be the most affordable parts to live in Lake Norman, mainly because, again, you are in that condo, right? Now, to purchase a condo, you're looking at roughly $700,000 in this area. But again, you get all of the amenities that come with it, pool, pickleball, You get their own beach access. And on top of that, some of these condos also have marina access as well. So just keep that in mind. Now, on top of that, Lake Norman access in Davidson is just really good to begin with anyways. You are right along the lake and you have access to nearby towns of Cornelius, Huntersville, and Mooresville. Now, all of these have access to actually launch your boat onto the water as well. Down in Huntersville, you can find Blythe Landing, and just up the road in Mooresville, you have Stumpy Creek Park, which is another fantastic park to go and launch your boats. If you're really big on taking your boat out onto the lake, jet skiing, kayaking, stuff like that. And even if you're just big into fishing, you have great access to that from Davidson. Hey, real quick, as much as I love making these videos, I am a licensed real estate broker in the state of North Carolina. That is my day-to-day. So if there's anything I can do for you, please consider reaching out. That number that's popping up below. I am the person that answers every phone call, every text message, and every email. So if you have any questions, I'd love to help. But with that being said, let's get back into the video. All right, the number 4 reason why people are moving to Davidson, and that is because it still feels like a small town, right? Davidson is protecting its identity. It still feels like a small walkable town with a lot of green space and access to the lake. All right, now Davidson is one of those towns that does have strict developmental controls. All right, they are prioritizing green space, density limits, parks, and just an overall feeling of charm versus just building everywhere, like what we're finding down just a little bit closer in Charlotte. All right, so what you're gonna find in Davidson is that it does still feel like a small town. The further east you go away from the lake, it actually still feels a little bit rural. All right, you're gonna see some farmland and some horses still in Davidson, even though you're just outside of the big city of Charlotte. You're also gonna see in Davidson, a lot of the homes are on larger lots. Now you do have access to some areas where there are townhomes and just homes that are just a little bit closer together, but they still are large, they still feel big. And what you're gonna find in Davidson is that it really just feels a little bit more spread out in comparison to the neighboring town to the north of Mooresville, which Mooresville does feel more like a build everywhere type of place. All right, now the bonus in all of that is that the traffic in Davidson is bearable, with exception of I-77. No matter where you are, I-77, always to me, it feels a little unbearable. But Davidson's inner city traffic, it really doesn't exist. Right? You may see it gets a little busy around rush hour, but it's not really traffic, right? It's just a little bit more congestion as people are on their way home. All right, number 5 reason why people are moving to Davidson, and that is going to be the insanely high quality of life. All right, now this is where Davidson kind of quietly blows people away. All right, now Davidson has tons of parks and trails, including the preserved Davidson Greenway system. But Davidson, even downtown, you're gonna find places like Roosevelt Park. You're gonna find that the downtown is walkable. There are trails everywhere, and there are even sidewalks everywhere. If you're big on walking on sidewalks, we even have Davidson College as well, which you can walk right through. It is a beautiful campus. Now, on top of all that, there is a cycling culture. You find running groups and yoga studios down here. It's really a super active community, and you're also minutes away from Novant and Atrium, which are both massive healthcare employers here in the state of North Carolina. All right, now what that means if you buy a house in Davidson, I would expect that the value of that home will continue to grow just because of what Davidson has to offer. All right, now the town is not really gonna change overnight. It still does feel like that small town. You are still pretty close by to other places that are growing rapidly, like Mooresville. And in Mooresville, you have all the shopping you could ask for. All right, in Davidson, what you have is really that local downtown area for shopping, and that's really it. All right, if you're looking for anything else, you're going up into Mooresville or down into Huntersville or even further down into Charlotte. So if you are looking for a place with character and something that is not right next to a strip mall, you're gonna find that Davidson is perfect for you. All right, number 6, and that is going to be that Davidson's proximity to Charlotte is a major plus. Now, if you work in Charlotte or if you play in Charlotte, Davidson is the perfect getaway. For the folks that are moving here but are planning on commuting down into Charlotte, you're looking at maybe a 20 to 25 minute drive right down I-77. You are very close to Charlotte and Charlotte's uptown. Now, if you are looking to also play in the city, Charlotte has a lot of things to do. Starting with just sporting events in general, Charlotte has the Carolina Panthers with Bank of America Stadium downtown. You also have the Charlotte Hornets. You have baseball and the Charlotte Knights, and you also have Charlotte FC, which is an MLS soccer team as well. On top of that, there are tons of things to do, bars, clubs down in Charlotte. If you're looking to go shopping, just down the street in Huntersville at the Birkdale Village is fantastic, and it's really close by as well. All right, now why all of this matters. If you are looking to work in the big city, but live in a quiet suburb, Davidson is going to be the closest and just best overall suburb. If what you're looking for is fantastic access to the lake, access to great public amenities like the public school system in Davidson as well, this is going to be a top-notch city to move your family to. Or if you're just a young professional, I did mention that Davidson is one of the highest ranked places in the entire country and in the state for young professionals as well. So just keep that in mind if what you're looking for is a move to Davidson, North Carolina. All right, that is going to be 6 reasons why people are moving to Davidson, North Carolina. If you got some value out of this video, please consider liking and subscribing, as I do make videos twice a week, every week, on what it's like to move to or live in the Lake Norman area of North Carolina. And as much as I love making these videos, I am a licensed real estate broker here. So if you have any questions or need any help, that number that is popping up below, I am the person that answers those phone calls, text messages, and emails. All right, with that being said, I'll see y'all in the next one.